Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Nick from Soho Motorsports, and today we're going to discuss Joe's 700 plus wheel Nissan 370Z. It's always fun to have a vehicle come into here and basically see what the individual is trying to have as their final product for this build. And as you can tell, this build is definitely a unique build, from the color choice to the build that he did, the type of power it puts down. And this is just his first phase. He's got another phase after this. So I'm curious to see what his phase will be after this setup here. So going to this setup here, it arrived to us with the Fast Intention Stage 1 twin turbo kit on it, stock motor. The stock motor unfortunately had a failure. And so here we are here with the Soho HB engine package that was chosen to basically accommodate the goals that this individual has for this vehicle. So Fast Intention Stage 1 turbos are going to be the small disco potato turbos, so you're not going to make too much power. They're going to come in really quick. They're going to make a lot of torque, and they're going to fall off on the top end just because they're small housings in regards to the turbo sizes themselves. So with this particular setup, the fueling had to be upgraded. It came in with 1050cc injectors and a 340 pump. So when we discussed what kind of power numbers we were shooting for, he wanted to max out the kit. So we said, let's go with 1300cc injector dynamic injectors along with a 525 Hellcat pump in the tank. Keep it a single pump tank for the time being, and then also do the CJM fuel return system and add flex fuel capability to this setup, so that way he can run both pump and E85. Now, the one thing when you go to a fuel return system, what happens is for every pound of boost that you increase, you're going to also increase 1 psi of fuel pressure. So for example, if you do 20 pounds of boost, your fuel pressure is going to increase by about 20 psi. So 53 is the standard that you set it to. So if you increase it by 20 pounds, you're going to see 73 psi, which in turn what that does, it actually makes that injector bigger. By increasing the fuel pressure, you're actually increasing the cc's, or the amount of volume that that injector can put out into the engine. And when you're going from pump to E85, you're always going to want about 33% more volume to basically be able to accommodate the amount of volume required to meet the same target AFR for the pump and the E85. So a little bit of information for you so you guys are aware as to why we chose a fuel return system, why we went with 1300cc injectors, and so forth. So you get to a certain limitation on some of these setups where the actual single pump, the 525 pump, cannot handle any more volume. So basically what that means is you're just out of pump. And so we came across that with this setup, which basically stopped us in regards to being able to make more power, along with the turbos being small. So we were able to know when to stop and cap it off. And let's discuss these numbers here. So on wastegate on this vehicle, on 93, it put down 448 and 398 foot-pounds of torque. Great power. Now, bumping it up to 11.4 psi. Now this is still on pump gas. It put down 528 and 416 foot-pounds of torque. Great power. We could have increased the boost a little bit more. Sometimes we run 12, 13 psi. We knew we were going ethanol on this setup, so we didn't want to spend too much time. He has his 2 maps on pump, and then now he'll have his E maps here. So there was about a quarter tank of 93 in the actual tank itself when we filled it up with E90. We had a little cocktail blend there, ended up being about E50. So these are going to be the numbers that it presented on E50 here. So on E50, on the same 7 psi, it put down 475 and 410 foot-pounds of torque. And then since we were going E85 or adding ethanol to the actual mix here, we're able to increase the boost. So we increased the boost to 15.76 psi, and when we did that, that's what got us our 700 wheel on this setup and 557 foot-pounds of torque. Now, a lot of times you don't want to put the torque too high, especially when you're on a stock motor. When you're on a built motor, you can throw torque to it, but you don't want to throw too much torque to it because a lot of times that can lead to issues. So that's where we capped it off in regards to power. 700 wheel, 557 foot-pounds of torque on E50. Once he bumps up that ethanol content, probably get a little bit more, probably be around 710-ish, give or take. And obviously temperature is a big factor in horsepower as well too. So there's a lot of variables that go into making horsepower. It's not just, I have this turbo kit, I put this type of boost. There's altitude, there's going to be temperature, there's a number of things that go into making power. And basically where we are at and where the vehicle was at here, this is the power put down. 700 wheel behind a Z is fun, it's good power. You still have to pay attention, you gotta be cautious, that is still a lot of power. So he had bigger wheels on this setup, he had 20-inch wheels on this setup, and so when we got to the point of making that type of power, we discussed different wheel options. He wanted to go with the Bellic wheels, do something different. As you can see here, the white face, black barrel, 17 by 11 in the rear. So I mean, it looks great. The car, it completes the look. So before it had the look and it didn't have the bite. Now it's got both. So this car is an absolute blast to drive. We'll go on a drive with Justin so you can see it. I mean, it just comes in hard and it just holds power throughout the entire power band. Now, what did it take to put the power down? So stock clutch obviously is not gonna put that power down. So with this setup, we did the Z-Speed triple disc setup, which as you can see in any of the big power builds that we do, that is the clutch of choice that we go with. It's basically the clutch and flywheel combo, triple disc. Hit the link below if you want to visit Z-Speed, get anything from a full face disc to a triple disc. Whatever type of clutch you're looking for your Nissan or Infiniti vehicle, Z-Speed has got you covered. So be sure to hit the link below and visit them. On top of what we did here with the motor, obviously with the stock plenum, you run into situations where they'll start to crack and they'll start to basically split around 16, 17 PSI. Now, like I said, he is going to a second phase, which he's going to increase the power and possibly upgrade the turbos on this setup. So from the Soho Motorsports intake manifold. Now that manifold is not in production at the moment. However, we plan on bringing it back for a lot of the individuals that keep asking. So be patient. We're going to get him back out. It's a good looking piece. It completes the actual engine bay along with the Soho Motorsports catch can. And then what else? The other thing that we did here was the 34-row oil cooler. As you are aware, the oiling system from Nissan is not the best. And so anytime you kind of throw any power to it, oil temps start to increase. 34-row oil cooler keeps the temps low. If you can keep your oil temps low, you can keep your cool temps low. Everything is happy when you do all that. So let's go for a ride with Justin, see what this car puts down, and we'll go from there. Gas intentions kit, basically fuel return system, 1300cc injectors, 525 pump. So it doesn't have the twin pumps, so that's why we were limited on what kind of power it can make. Obviously the motor can make a lot more, and we were maxing out on the turbo kit. So we're gonna do a rip here on this high boost setting around 17 pounds, which is just a tad over 700 wheel. So let's go for a ride and see what it does here. We're on the B-Lac wheels, front skinnies, so a drag pack per se.
This thing rolls out. You ready?
Yep. That's instant.
This thing is rowdy.
You were right. As soon as you put your foot down, it's
as soon as you put your foot down, it's all of it, and here we go.
Wow.
So, a couple tidbits about this car. It's not a sport package, so it doesn't have the sport mode in it. So there's no boost by gear available on this vehicle. So what that means is it's doing 700 horsepower in every single gear, and with our B-Lac package, with our drag pack on the vehicle, it puts 700 horsepower down in first, second, third, fourth, every gear.
Yep, it didn't spin.
No spinning, no drama. Vehicle dynamic control is off. It just hooks and books.
Was that traction control off on that?
It was off, yes, cool. It was off. And I'm wearing the sunglasses because my man's got a shiny carbon dash and I can't see anything if I don't. So trying to make sure we get home from Mexico safe.
Yeah, it's a very unique build, that is for sure. So it's got the big wing, now it's got the big power, it's got the look to it. I mean, this car is dumb, it's fast.
It is, it's very fast.
Yeah. And it drives just like stock, you never know, right?
Sure does, man. Drives just like factory. I say it's got the drag pack on it right now because that's how Joe wanted it shipped back to him. So hey, man, you got it. Thanks for the opportunity, and yeah, we'll do another Ripski in low gear and see how it feels.
Oh, for sure, for sure. We just got to get through some of this traffic here. There's a lot of traffic today, it seems like on the. Quick too.
Second it is.
About to find out. So this is second gear hit.
Second gear. Shoo!
Wow. This car is dumb.
It's an animal. This is an animal.
Hooks and books, man.
It does this on the street. I can't imagine what it's going to do on the track.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever it's actually on some prep, like, man, you're going to be able to use every single bit of this horsepower and put it down. I'm excited to see what it returns back with some time slips, because I'm sure those are coming down the pipe.
Oh,
definitely excited to see that.
Racing stuff.
Yeah.
This car. This would be a great roll racing car.
Either way, it's going to surprise some people because, you know, like we talk about, there's a lot of show cars that, yeah, they look fantastic and they don't have any bite. This one's got some bite. This one's got a whole mouthful of bite.
For sure, for sure. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. If you could hit the subscribe button below, and we'll catch you on the next one.